I'd like to call to order this regular council meeting of the town of Saugeen Shores. And the first order of business is a declaration of pecuniary interest, and I'll remind every member of your responsibility to do so. Councillor Myatt.
We find the item on the agenda, sorry. It's bylaw 8, bylaw number 2. 82-2015 okay. Agreement, and my reason, Mr. Mayor, is my son is the general manager at Saugeen Golf Club, and this is an application from Piper's Glen, so I'd like to declare that conflict.
Thank you. It'll be noted. None other than the next item is additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda, and I have nothing before me. The next item then is adoption of minutes of the regular council minutes of September 28, 2015, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Councillor Huber, that Council adopt the minutes of the council meeting of September the 28th, 2015 as presented. Any errors or omissions or comments? If not, all in favor? That's carried. Next item is the Committee of the Whole minutes of September the 24th and September the 28th of 2015, and it's been moved by Councillor Rich and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau. The Council note and file the Committee of the Whole minutes of September the 24th and September the 28th, 2015. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That's carried. Next item is a report of the Committee of the Whole. It's a general government report from September the 28th, and it's been moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Councillor Dave Mayette that Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the general government report dated September the 28th, 2015, recommending the following. 1. That the municipalities identified on the table attached to the CAO's staff report dated September the 28th, 2015 be approved for benchmarking purposes in conjunction with the ongoing organizational review update project being conducted by Ward Updegrove Consulting and Human Resources. 2. That the Minister of Health and Long-Term Care and the Southwest LHIN be requested to reconsider the parameters that have led to the conclusion that Saugeen Shores is no longer a community in need for physician recruitment purposes, and further that the Ministry also be requested to assist in creative solutions to bridge the current patient coverage gap through the re-examination of provincial tools available that would encourage creation or expansion of nurse practitioner-led clinics as a means of providing core healthcare services for current orphaned patients. Comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Sorry? Go ahead.
Just a question. The agenda package I received has an item 4.2 special meeting notes. We don't have to do any approval of that? Those aren't minutes?
That would have been the September 28th. So
it's just included in the...
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a report of municipal officers and committees, and we have a motion along with the staff report, and I'll read the motion. It's moved by Councillor Rich, seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores supports Mackenzie Street Mini Storage Incorporated's application to the Feed-in Tariff Program to construct and operate a 200 kilowatt roof-mounted solar panel system at 1264 Mackenzie Road. Whereas capitalized items not defined herein have meanings ascribed to them in the FIT Rules version 4.0.1, and whereas Mackenzie Street Mini Storage Incorporated, the applicant, proposes to construct and operate a 200 kilowatt roof-mounted solar distributed generator, the project, on 1264 Mackenzie Road, Port Elgin, Ontario, NOH2CO, PIN number 33248-0045, the lands in the town of Saugeen Shores under the province's FIT program. And whereas the applicant has requested the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores indicate by resolution Council's support for the construction and operation of the project on the property. And whereas, pursuant to FIT Rules version 4.0.1, applications for projects received the formal support Applications whose project received the formal support of local municipalities will be awarded priority points, which may result in the applicant being offered a FIT contract prior to other persons applying for FIT contracts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores supports the construction and operation of the project on the lands. Comments? Questions? All in favor? Councillor Minaj.
I would hate to get someone lose something because of a spelling error or something. It is the Mackenzie Street mini storage, but it's on the Mackenzie Road mini stow-it. Like, we've used the word street and road.
Yes, the applicant has confirmed that's the name of his company.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Next item is a motion to appoint members to the Saugeen Turbine Operation Policy. And it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau and seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt. The council hereby appoints the following two members of council to meet with representatives of Saugeen Turbine Operation Policy for the purpose of reviewing the detailed information acquired by STOP regarding the operation of the Unifor industrial wind turbine, reporting back to council when appropriate. And there's two names here left blank. And typically, and I'll ask the Deputy Mayor what his intent was. I'm going to speak to it, but typically our procedural bylaw would say the mover would be a member of it, but I'll let you speak to that. And perhaps what you intend by it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yeah, and I had overlooked that, and that's true. And I can sit on it and am willing to, but I would also gladly not do that if there were other members who were desirous to do so. I just want to clarify, Mr. Mayor, that the title of the motion on the agenda is slightly different than the intention of the motion. We're not the motion, and I hope it doesn't read this way, because if it does, it's not accurate, I guess. But the intention of the motion is not to appoint members to STOP. The intention is to appoint members to meet with STOP and report back to council. As this was, as council will be well aware, stems from the request that was given to us by Greg Schmaltz at our open session a couple of weeks ago. And so the intention really is to meet, report back, and thereafter, whatever comes out of that report, council can choose what to do next. So certainly, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to have my name on there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
See, in that regard, it's really not mandatory because it's not a committee that you wouldn't need to. But I respect your offer. I don't know if there are any other council. How would you like to select another member? I agree. Would you like to serve, Councillor Myatt?
I'm fine with that, Mr. Mayor. And I'm thinking this might be a one meeting, 2 meetings. Yeah. We'll report back, and I don't think it's going to be a huge committee. I would be glad to do that.
Okay, thank you. Any other? You don't very often get volunteers in this situation.
But I also, Mr. Mayor, if I could say that if certainly if there's another member of council that would like to sit, I don't have to be there.
Just I think that horse is out of the barn now, Mike. Go ahead.
I also just wanted to clarify for absolute clarity with council, STOP, Saugeen Turbine Operation Policy, is not an incorporated group. So it's really Greg Schmaltz is the representative of STOP, and that's who council will be meeting with, or pardon me, that's who Councillor Myatt and I will be meeting with if we're appointed. I just wanted to be very clear with council about who we were meeting with and how that works. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, just for clarity, I've added the Deputy Mayor's name, Luke Charbonneau, and Councillor Myatt as the two representatives. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next item on the agenda is bylaws, and the first one is a bylaw. It's moved by Councillor Myatt and seconded by Councillor Madison, that bylaw 81-2015, being a bylaw to authorize a lease agreement with the Society of Energy Professionals, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of October 2015. Questions or comments? I just really want to extend a thank you for the Society of how they support us in our doctor recruitment with this particular issue, lease of this building. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next item is a site plan agreement, and this is one. Yeah. I'll just give you time, Mike. Next is a site plan agreement with Red Hawk Construction Limited, and it's been moved by Councillor Dave Myatt and seconded by Councillor Grace, that bylaw 82-2015, being a bylaw to authorize a site plan agreement with Red Hawk Construction Company Limited, is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of October 2015. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. The next item on the agenda is a bylaw that is established and assumed road widening, particularly Laird Lane. It's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Minaj. That bylaw 83-2015, being a bylaw to establish and assume certain lands within the town of Saugeen Shores into the municipal road system as a public highway for public use, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of October 2015. Questions or comments? Vice Deputy Mayor Huber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as a point of clarification, perhaps Linda or Larry could comment ever so briefly on why these kinds of acquisitions are important, because when you just look at the drawings, it just seems like a little sort of strip of land just hanging out there, and it has future implications, and often at planning we get asked why. So if you could just make a brief comment on why we do this when we have the chance to do it. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, staff will often comment now that we have some strengthened policies in our new official plan for acquisition of widenings, particularly on undersized lanes. For the most part, it's because of the distance separation between public services has increased, and there's greater competition for a very narrow space for things like fiber and those kinds of things today. Over the long term, we want to increase pedestrian connectivity on these types of laneways when there's an opportunity. We recognize it's a long-term project, and it'll take a great many years in some circumstances to get all the pieces that we need, but we think it's important to be consistent and to have started with the new official plan Council had before it a couple of years ago.
Any further comments? If not, then all in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. The next item is a bylaw rezoning for Kaylee Welsh. It's been moved by Councillor Matheson, seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt. The bylaw 84-2015, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 75-2006, being the comprehensive zoning bylaw for the town of Saugeen Shores by 1234841 Ontario Incorporated, in care of Jim Cayley, for lands described as 1507 Bruce Road 17, Saugeen Township, is hereby read our first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of October 2015. Questions, comments? All in favor? Oh, sorry. Councillor, Vice Deputy Huber.
I was just going to encourage members of council to take a look at the Planning Advisory Committee minutes for this particular application. It had a couple of little twists in it that the applicant was there and responded to them, but it was a slightly different way of looking at this sort of application. So I just was going to encourage you to just take a look at the minutes to read a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Further comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And the next item is the confirmatory bylaw, and it's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber and seconded by Councillor Minaj, that bylaw 85-2015, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of October 2015. All in favor? That's carried, and it's been moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Councillor Dave Mayette, that this regular council meeting of October the 13th, 2015 hereby adjourned at 9:10 p.m. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you.